K Detention Center, you all received a copy of a year-end report today on the jail, and Jailer Brady's done an excellent job of compiling a cumulative history, and it's
unfortunately, it's some of the predictions that we had back even in budget time in the earlier year, we kind of they come to reality. But when we're in that kind of a business. Once we lose the opportunity to raise revenue for even one day, you don't work over on Saturday, you make it up with that. So that's what it is.
When it's gone, it's gone.
When it's gone, it's gone. But if you look at the first page, the chart right there, that's a state document. And that state document shows and that's your downturn of your House Bill 463, and as the House Bill 463 kind of starts balancing itself out, now the jail population is high or higher than it's been in a few years. And I don't know if they're attributing that to some of the prison closings or what, but they're doing a lot of classification readjustments. They're classifying some higher class inmates, doing overrides, bringing them back down into the jail system and putting them into some programs and stuff. But we're seeing a different type of prisoner for sure. But if you when you look at those numbers, and you look at March, it was about March when we started seeing our numbers come back to a more consistent full. You go to the second page right here, we kind of got a report on the jail for our annual thing. Of course, the chart demonstrates very clearly what happened with our revenue, and we can't go back and redo that one. But I do say this in the second paragraph right here, the carryover, the transfer in this year is going to be $395,000. Right now, the debt service that was paid out of that budget was $386,000. Given that, and the only reason I bring that up is that we only have 4 years left, guys. 4 years from May of 2018, that facility will be paid for. And at that point, the debt service, and you can take it even with this year, if we didn't have the debt service on there, then we would have still been in the black with that operation. We would have operated without any assistance from the court. So that just gives us, I guess, looking down the road, that we do have opportunities that it's going to be fruitful for us with that operation. And it's, we're at, 395,000 is probably, it's just hard to make. This is that's the first in 12 years. But, it was uncontrollable by anyone. We made several attempts to offset that and no avail. Anyway, given that we're at a May 2018, I would think that, and right now our count's coming back. If my revenue stayed at what it was last month, if I could consistently hold that type of a revenue and counts and stuff, without the ability, because we'll be redoing our federal contract, which hopefully we boost up. We're hoping that that we can get legislators to look at boosting the per diem up on the state prisoners. Sorry about that. And with that, we got an 18-year-old building. Hopefully, we start looking at in the next 4 years, if when our money stabilizes itself, that we start looking at energy efficient heating and air units, energy efficient boiler, energy efficient washers, stuff. The bulk of what we're utilizing for two reasons. First off is to rein in our cost on going out on utilities. But the biggest thing is that, again, it's 18 years old, and it's destined to fail and start failing us, that type of equipment. So, not today, but as a goal to go forward in the next 4 years, could you imagine where Marion County will be in May of 2018 with a facility? Think about this. A facility that is paid for with up-to-date, energy-efficient mechanics on it. Then the county will start reaping the true harvest, the true benefit of actually running our own jail and going back, being not only a wash, but hopefully by that time being a source of a place to go grab money if we had to. So,
Source of revenue.
Huh?
Source of revenue?
A source of revenue. Actually, it turned to be years. We're a little, 4 years to that. But nonetheless, given that, we've already budgeted for the programs and stuff this year, and we was disappointed because the next report here is on the grants. We budgeted, we actually submitted a grant for $195,000 to offset what we have expensed in this other program area. And the state come back with $67,000 and some change on it. So, I mean, I have to respond. I mean, and if you look at the report back here, I hate to flip-flop you back and forth, but that one page here shows the revenue. We'll go back to it. But if you go here to the report, you know, actually the realized savings to the state budget right now, we went into 2013, 2014 estimating that we was going to be $564,000 savings to the state budget. We actually pumped that number up and went up to $662,841 realized savings, and that's the minimum expiration date reduced on prisoners. I mean, that's prisoners getting off parole early, that's prisoners going home early, etc. Nonetheless, the committee had what it wasn't that they seen any the value or did not see the value in Marion County. It's just the fact is that the legislators did not put any more money in that program, and it's the community corrections program. So the total amount of money that was given out statewide was $987,000, and we got $67,000 of it, and other areas or entities across the state got dished out money. So that was the thing that I tried to, push for our legislators to make sure that we got that funding up, and so that they were able to fund things a little better. Nonetheless, what I propose to do is, of course, we've already budgeted, and you've already approved the budget going into 2014, 2015. Nonetheless, we have to respond. I feel we have to respond, and I have some, of course, we have some attrition with staff coming up, and that's close to $25,000 we can expect to regain, because it's attrition. They go out at a higher level, you hire them in at a lower level. But we also, we had attrition. We had one of the counselors resign, not replace it. So if I don't replace those, and I look at my attrition, I'm going around, going into the budget, bringing myself back in operational costs, probably $67,000 or so. So that's just it's not kind of knee-jerk, just a response back. But at the same time I don't want to be sitting here paying out, that we're putting all the front up on it, the state's benefiting and stuff. So at the same time I cut back, they get cut back. And it's not really a punitive thing. I just mean it as a fact is that, guess what? I can't afford to continue to hire staff to work extra hours to do programs for state inmates that I'm not required to do on an abundance. I'm still going to do it, okay? But I'm going to reduce those classes down to about a third of what we're reduce a third of it all. So the projection that I'm projecting to the state that they'll get now is that they'll get about $296,000 off the benefit, and then hopefully we can we can look at, with our legislators again. We go on these legislative sessions. I know we fought for our count to be up, but we need to fight for some other monies in those areas. But anyway, total benefit, Marion County Detention Center benefits, state budget, the way our calculations on the received good time was over $1 million. We have, there's always those statements that come out of Frankfurt. Well, you need to pay your dues, and you need to, you all been blessed by having self-sufficient. But we're not just an average Joe player. We are. That's right. We are top notch. We've done the right things, and we can show the state actual savings on what they're spending with us. So anyway, they'll spend more than $1 million paying me, but at the same time, we're knocking some of that down. And then I go on to through the report. You got your staff bids. It shows a little bit about it, but the very last is one that you don't want to forget that we do, and that is the community service. Right now, the figure of the community service total out of the jails right at $500,000, $485,000 $99, and $355 of that's strictly to, to Marion County. It costs me, guys, and it costs us, not me, it costs us, but we don't want to get forward. It costs us about $75,000 to keep that going. But that's Browardville, Loretta, St. Joe, Raywick, the areas throughout the communities that's recapping some of that savings, the dog pound, the sanitation, etc. So all in all, I wish that the House Bill 463 wouldn't have had such a direct impact and hit with us, but it did, and we got to the end of the road, so we'll just have to see where it goes from here. The best thing I can give you is the site that we're 4 years away from paying the debt service off on that jail. If we work on energy efficient stuff for the equipment, I think Mr. Masterson's right. I think by 2018 you can look at it as not only a sustainable portion of our government, but a revenue source of our government.
That's great.
That's right. It's a good job. I think you've proven that point. You put a lot of seed into it. Now then the fruit is coming back. So
yeah, it is. It is just we just had a storm outside of the weather, outside of the debt service. If we didn't have the debt service, we could have weathered this storm. But unfortunately, we have the debt service for 4 more years. So nonetheless, I hope you find the report very detailed and explanatory. If you have any questions after you review anything later, I make sure that the media got a copy of it, so if anybody has any questions, you can give us a call.
Sounds good, Barry. Thank you.
good job. Those just don't happen by itself. You've done a great job. Thank you, Mr. Barry.
Thank you, Barry.
Judge, we do have a transfer.
Oh, yes, I did, y'all understood that, moment. $395,
Yeah.
that meant
Yeah.
a transfer.
Okay, we can do that.
Approve the transfer.
I guess we need to do it separately, yeah. Entertain a
Second.
motion to approve the transfer.
Second.
Masterson?
Yes.
Mr. Smothers?
Yes.
Mr. Wicker?
Yes.
Mr. Caldwell?
Yes.
Unanimous.
I don't think there was ever a conversation we had with Secretary Brown or anybody up in corrections or the chief of staff of the governor that didn't acknowledge that Marion County was doing an excellent job and had no complaints. And they admitted the shortcomings and the deficiencies in the law and even some of the exchanges in information. When Barry introduced the program beds, they acknowledged that nobody does it better. They just wish they could provide more money, and they have in fact approved and improved on assignment. So that's
it.
worth a lot.
We're 307 today. I'm not actually over past 10 over today.
Maybe we can sustain ourselves.